Welcome to next session now on discrete time Fourier transforms. We discussed in last 3 sessions the introduction, composition of discrete time Fourier transform by taking help of discrete time cosine transform and discrete time sine transforms, then finding out inverse discrete time Fourier transform. Now, we need to compute actual discrete time Fourier transform for few cases as an exercise, and also various properties of discrete time Fourier transform and then applications of discrete time Fourier transform. But the details of computing for few examples, properties and applications you will simply find in any literature. So much literature is now available, and with all other organizations bombarding you on various online materials, there is a confusion what to read and what not to read. Therefore, the discussion in the classroom should be confined to that which is difficult to be available otherwise. So, interpretation, what I mean by discrete time Fourier transform, that is very important. So, you have got an xn, that is the input discrete sequence, which we transform into x of omega. So, x of omega is a function. So, what kind of information which is there already in xn is exhibited clearly before the user is to be ascertained. For example, now I would like to give very simple example so that the purpose is very clear. So, you are students, you appear for various subjects in an examination. Now, this grade point average is something which is somewhat complex to understand for many. So, let us not go for that, but even the percentage concept is also somewhat new. But when you are in school, the performance in all subjects, there was a concept like grand total. So, if you had 6 subjects, each of 100 marks, then total of all marks. So, you had, maybe all of you are bright students, so one may have 90 in one subject, 93 in another, 94 in one, maybe 85 in some one subject, like that. So, the individual marks, there are 6 numbers, x1, x2, x3, x4, x5, x6, and their sum total is some another number. So, it is also a transformation, non-invertible transformation, but so see, this is DTFT operation. DTFT operation is this, what that operation is that we are discussing in detail. Now, we can also have a summation operation, simple summation operation, and we get sum total, that what we can say as S, which you got in standard first, you may be competing with each other. So, you know what S means. What is meaning of S? When you sum marks in all subjects, that totally indicates us who is the brightest student in the class. So, the S for the total S of all inputs indicates the average competency of the student for which marks in different subjects have acted as inputs. Like this now, in that case, this S was a single number. This S was a single number. Now, you might have advanced to high school days. That time, there is a concept, I do not know whether in your school it was followed or not, but there, out of these different marks, 3 totals are to be made, S1, S2, S3. S1 corresponds to the total of language subjects, S2 corresponds to total of maths and science subjects, and S3 corresponds to total of social science subjects. So, these 3 numbers, these 3 totals, again from maybe 8, 9 numbers, these totals have been found out. So, these totals reflect the particular quotient of an individual, linguistic quotient, scientific quotient, and maybe social quotient. Not necessarily that one who is good in social science is a social person, but anyway, let us assume that. So, the inputs are there, these are summed in different manner. so as to reflect something. Like that now, the question here is that xn is now transformed into x omega. X omega is not a single number. For various values of omega, x omega is a continuous periodic function. So, for value of omega equal to minus pi, it will have some value. For value of omega as minus pi by 4, it will have some value. For various values of omega, x omega will be some number. It is a two-dimensional number, means x omega will always include, as we discussed earlierly, xc omega or an xs omega in different manner. So, we can say a real part and an imaginary part, where xr omega is xc omega and xi omega is minus xs omega, as we discussed. So, what I wanted to communicate is what is for various values of omega, dtft of given function is having different values. For given omega, dtft x omega has got some value for transform of some signal for some sequence. For transform of some other sequence, it will be a different function. So, by what is reflected by x omega is to be ascertained, means x omega is to describe the nature of xn. What kind of nature of xn is there is to be interpreted by this x omega. Then how? So, what x omega corresponds to? So, x omega is having some value at every omega, and we have found it out by x omega is equal to summation n equal to minus infinity to infinity x n e raised to minus j omega n, x n e raised to minus j omega n. So, we will try to interpret this equation in a different context now. So, what we are doing? We are multiplying x n by e raised to minus j omega n. We are multiplying x n by e raised to minus j omega n. So, for given omega, listen very carefully now. For given omega, there will be some x omega. So, what that will be? Whether it is small, large, infinite, real, imaginary or complex. I would like your acute attention, because this is a very important theme, because if interpretation is removed, then everything becomes very much simple, which may not require lecture also. You can read in the book, have some preparation, and one can pass the examination, but that is not our motto. Our motto is overall complete understanding to the finest level possible. So, this e raised to minus j omega n actually is considered as cosine omega n and sine omega n, their summation like that in a combination, is not summation, a ordered pair combination. But now that no need of cos and sine, we can work also on e raised to minus j omega n. What is e raised to minus j omega n? E raised to minus j omega n is a peculiar function, and I think in the class I have repeated for many times, it is a rotating point along the unit circle at an angular frequency of omega in anti-clockwise direction. So, we talk about e raised to minus j omega n, how it changes, and then it multiplies x n. So what is the impact of that multiplication? So we will I will try to elaborate it to the finest extent possible. And as I had already stated, we have ample time. The lockdown period is there, and after that also there is some more period available for students. So we need not bother whether syllabus will be covered or not, because anyway we are in the 5th module. So not much things are remaining. So we will discuss everything in detail. So e raised to minus j omega n, it is what we discussed at the beginning of the concept of transform. dt ft of given discrete sequence is a weighted sum. A continuous function of omega termed as x omega is weighted sum of given sequence. So weights are here rotating weights. So what we are having, it is very interesting. The weights are in DTFT, we are not multiplying, we are not enhancing the things. I would further like that we in signals and systems or even in the first semester in circuit theory, we are supposed to be in a 2D plane. So everything is 2-dimensional. So a variable, what is means earlier to that variable we were having a real number, that is length we were considering, whereas now once we are moved to advanced stage, we always have a perception that any variable is always a point in 2D plane. So when it's a point in 2D plane, it is 2-dimensional. So weights are, sequence is also 2-dimensional. 1-dimensional sequence is a subset of 2-dimensional sequence, special case of 2-dimensional sequence. So a point in the plane is if point in the plane is our 2D concept, then point on x-axis always lies in xy plane. So every point on x-axis is always a point in the 2D xy plane. So xn is a point in 2D plane, and e raised to minus j omega n is also a point in 2D plane. Here the weights what we have got are peculiar. Weights are having magnitude 1 and they are positioned differently at different angle in unit circle. So e raised to minus j omega, and weights are there from n equal to 0 onwards, also from n equal to minus infinity to 0. So for every sequence with a given index of n, there is a weight which we say defined as qn, it is e raised to minus j omega n. But what is that weight? That weight is a simple point in 2D plane. So that idea must be very clear. So at n equal to 0, what is the situation? E raised to minus j omega n is this point. For any omega, omega is from minus pi to pi, omega can take any value. So e raised to minus j omega n will be a point on unit circle at an angle omega n. So for given omega, as n changes, the point, if omega is positive, so omega is having value from 0 to pi and from 0 to minus pi. Even if we consider from 0 to 2 pi, the area from pi to 2 pi is as good as the region from pi to 2 pi is as good as region from 0 to minus pi. So let us have a clear idea of minus pi to pi. So rotating, when omega increases and omega is angular speed, in case of continuous thing it was a rotating point. In this case, the n being integer, all points on the circle are not sequentially covered. So when omega increases, in case of continuous thing, omega can increase till infinity. In this case, when omega increases, when omega becomes pi, it becomes 1, this here, 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 here. If omega is small, it rotates like this. For omega equal to pi, for omega equal to more than pi is this. More than pi, it comes here. Much more than pi, it comes here. So next sample coming here is as good as next sample coming here. So it is either this way, anti-clockwise 359 degrees or clockwise 1 degree. So 359 is as good as -1. The angular omega I am talking in degrees, but angular speed something less than 2 pi is just small negative value. So the weights take positions here, 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 here. So as n changes, weights change like this for given omega. If omega is less, they change like this. If omega is much less, they change like this. If omega is much more, this one, then this one, then this one in this case. So what I am doing now? Weighted sum of given samples. Now listen very carefully. Weights for given omega, weights are rotating points, and I have a sequence. So if my sum is to be more, if my sum has to be more, the total weighted sum, here it is, I again repeat, weights are rotating weights, and so when weights are rotating, something this and something this, when I add together, these are not, if everything is positive and if we are in one dimensional, numbers are positive, weights are positive, always sum will be increasing in any case. But in this case, weights are, to be very precise, e raised to minus j omega n is cos omega n plus j sin omega n. So in that case, if we take cos separately and sin separately, we can say these are oscillating weights. But even if we look both of them together as a combination, it is rotating weights. So weights are rotating, weights are two dimensional, weight can have any position on the circle. Then when what is xn? Xn is given sample. It may be one dimensional, it may be two dimensional. Suppose, let us say, for time being, it need not be a precondition, but let us say that xn is one dimensional. Xn is one dimensional. So if xn is one dimension means what? It increases, then decreases, again increases, remains constant, like that. So in that case, what is going to happen is that xn will be then we will take peculiar examples, and by taking peculiar examples, we would be in a position to comment on the nature of the sequence and DTFT value. So a very simple question I would like to tell is, what if xn is a constant? If xn is a constant, in that case, that xn will come out and it would be sum of e raised to minus j omega n, and that we discussed yesterday, that if omega equal to 0, sum will be infinite, and if omega other than 0, sum will be 0. So it is an impulse function. So what is its interpretation? The interpretation will take some time. Instead of me telling interpretation, I will utter such sentences through which you yourself should be able to draw interpretation, because interpretation is something which needs to be coming from within rather than somebody else bombarding it on you. So this weighted sum where weights are rotating, weighted sum where weights are rotating, if this weighted sum has to increase, because when weights are rotating, the weights when multiplied to a sample and that summation is done, because of rotational nature of weights, obviously there is a concept, there is a tendency of cancellation of each term, one term by the other term. So, effectively the terms may get cancelled and addition will not go beyond. When addition becomes much large, suppose if this is rotating. Now, if x, listen now very carefully, if this xn is also a rotating point, listen very carefully, I hope that it may give some kind of self interpretation for you. So, what is xn? We have discussed already. Xn can be a point in 2D plane. Xn need not be a one dimensional sequence. Xn is a two dimensional sequence. Then, if xn is also a rotating point, so that is the crux. If xn is also a rotating point in 2D plane, and if you multiply one rotating point by other rotating point, if you multiply one rotating point by other rotating point, what is resultant? Listen very carefully and try to find out the answer. I take a half-minute break. You got the question? The question is, the weights are a rotating function, rotating point. This xn can be anything. This xn is a point in 2D plane which may have any value for given n. Now, if I give you a special case that xn is also a rotating point in 2D plane, and again to make it simple, let us keep it on unit circle. So, what does it mean? Given point, given sequence is a rotating sequence. So, what is the speed of rotation? So, let us take the value a. We take, because omega is to be varied from minus pi to pi. So, what if I have? I can have xn is equal to e raised to j a n. Listen very carefully now. Xn is equal to e raised to j a n. So, what does it mean? It is cosine a n plus j sine a n. So, and a is a given constant and n is an index. So, as n increases, the angle subtended would be a n, and what will happen? In this case, we are having the angle a n. So, if angle is positive, what will happen? We in the previous discussion, just there was some mistake which you correct. If the angle is positive, the rotation is anti-clockwise, and the multiplier e raised to minus j omega n is rotating clockwise. So, a is a fixed value and omega is a variable value. So, multiplication of two rotating points on unit circle, what it would be? Multiplication of two rotating points on unit circle, simply if I multiply it like this, you know that multiplication here both are exponential signals. So, it would be e raised to j into bracket a minus omega n, a minus omega n. So, what it will mean? Multiplication of two rotating points is also a rotating point which rotates at listen again carefully, multiplication of two rotating points is also a rotating point which rotates at an angular speed which is net sum of these two rotating points, net sum of speeds of these two rotating points. So, if both are rotating, to be very precise, I would like to give you a very interesting example. That, listen carefully again. You can also what is concept of multiplication of two rotating points? What we mean by multiplication of two rotating points? You may have a stepper motor. You must, or any motor, servo motor also you can have, but stepper motor is very easy for you to operate. So, you have got a stepper motor, and on this stepper motor you have got this stepper, with this stepper motor you can rotate the things like this. Then what you can do, this is shaft of stepper motor. On the shaft of stepper motor you have put another stepper motor. So, the stator, actually stator is not the appropriate word, but the, we can say, surrounding of the second stepper motor is put on the rotor of first stepper motor. The idea is very, I would draw the diagram because the theme is very important. So, this is a motor, this is the shaft of the motor. On this shaft of the motor, this is the something, a disc you have put, and you can, when you run the motor, this disc rotates. Then on this disc you have put other motor base, and you have got the disc of second motor. So, the first motor is there. On the shaft of first motor you have put the base of second motor, and then you have got shaft of second motor. If you rotate, what is multiplication? If you rotate the first motor, it is commutative. If you rotate the first motor by some angular speed, positive or negative, and if you rotate the second motor by another angular speed, then the shaft of the second motor will be rotating by addition of these two angular speeds, that is multiplication. Multiplication of two rotating multiplying two rotating points means putting your base on the first rotating point and then making it rotate further. So, in that case here, since omega is minus omega and it is plus a, it is a minus omega. So, in this case it is difference, or one is negative, so we can say sum also. So, it is a rotating point at an angular speed of a minus omega. Now, there is a very interesting thing. What will happen? Suppose we have got a. We have got a can be any number, right now it is a positive number, let us take, it can be negative also. So, the given sequence is a rotating point in anticlockwise direction at an angular speed of a. Now, we are supposed to find out the discrete time Fourier transform of this rotating point. When we want to find dtft of the rotating point, we take weighted sum where weights are e raised to the omega n. So, the xn e raised to the omega n, that is weighted sequence, is also a rotating point. Weighted sequence is also a rotating point, and infinite summation of rotating point by common sense is 0. Infinite summation of rotating point by common sense is 0, in the sense that since it is spread around the origin at different values and continuously rotating. So, it should by intuition it is 0. You can verify it later, except if it is not rotating or rotating at 0 speed. Listen carefully again, infinite sum of rotating points at a constant speed. Now, a minus omega is constant. So, if omega is less than a, it is positive. If omega is more than a, it is negative. So, in that case, what will happen? If it is positive, the net sum would be clockwise rotating point. If it is negative, net sum is negative, it would be, sorry, if net sum is positive, it will be anti-clockwise rotating point. If net sum is negative, it will be clockwise rotating point. So, the net product of sequence and weights is rotating point, and this rotating point is to be summed for all values of n, and then we get two options, just like in integration we discussed yesterday. Here also we get two options, this a equal to omega and a not equal to omega. So, when a is equal to omega, in that case it is e raised to 0 n. So, if omega is 0, then this entire product, which is e raised to j n into e raised to minus j omega n, it is e raised to j a minus omega n, e raised to j 0 n is 1, and 1 summed from minus infinity to infinity is infinity, 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 and so on. So, this is called as an impulse. So, the discrete time Fourier transform of rotating point will be an impulse for omega equal to a, and for omega other than a, it will be 0. So, higher value of dTft at given omega tells the sequence is nothing but rotating point itself. So, if sequence contains something like rotating points, in that case at the speed of rotation we will get an impulse. So, what I am trying, by e raised to minus j omega n, I am now, this sequence need not be all the rotating points. The sequence can be damn anything, xn can be anything. So, you might have gone through chromatic filters, that sunlight is there. In sunlight, you have mix. So, by putting a filter, you can check, by putting multiple chromatic filters, you can see whether you see light through these multiple chromatic filters or not. If you see the light, it means that in the light source that frequency is there. So, like that, so what a chromatic filter does? A chromatic filter tries to search for a given frequency in the light, which is said to be mixture. Like that, what I am trying, by subjecting xn to weights which rotate, I am trying to find out whether xn also consists of such traces of rotating points, and if yes, to what extent, if xn is at all a rotating point. Now, means what I intend at by dTf, listen very carefully now, it is the crux of dTft. xn is given sequence, xn is given sequence. What the, when I say in Fourier transform, we discussed it in the last semester, earlier also in this semester. Now, for discrete time Fourier transform, we are discussing it now. Listen each and every word, because it is a condensed discussion. Each and every word contains a meaning if you try to extract it. What discrete time Fourier transform tries to do? Discrete, listen carefully now, discrete time Fourier transform sees that given xn is made up of rotating points only. It is a very bold statement. Even though xn is one dimensional, it says that it is made of rotating points, and that is very obvious. A rotating point in clockwise direction and a rotating point exactly in its anti-clockwise direction, when they add together, if they start from 0, what you get? You get the point moving on x axis. So, a rotating point that is cos omega n plus j sin omega n and cos omega n minus j sin omega n, it is 2 cos omega n. So, rotating point 1, rotating point 2, its image, complex conjugate, if they add, you get one dimensional point, it moves only on horizontal axis. So, whether xn is real or xn is not real, xn is complex or imaginary is immaterial, what I try to do, I try, the discrete time Fourier transform tries that to view, it is said that suppose you might have studied in humanities, if you are a good person and you come to some place, you are a very big shot, worldly known figure, you come to a big place, some place, and there many people are sitting around, and somehow interaction takes place, and in that interaction, the interaction starts with one of the notorious persons of that place. And this gentleman say, oh yes, you seem to be very good. Then his colleagues get shocked. How, what nonsense the statement is, how can be so good? Then after the meeting, as it was a public meeting, they do not utter anything. But then when the high level discussion with office bearer starts, then these people ask, so how sir you say that he is good? Then he answers, I try to extract what is good in him. I presume that he contains some good things, and what I am trying to extract the components of few good things from him, and through some question answer, I will come to know the level to which these good characteristics exist in him. So, why should I presume that nothing good is existing in him? Like that now, what discrete time Fourier transform, what is xn? So, what that person, what the magnanimous person sees in the other, he tries to see that other person is made up of all good things, various good things. Like that, when I find discrete time Fourier transform, I try to visualize that it contains or it cannot contain anything than rotating points. It cannot contain anything than rotating points. It is a combination of multiple rotating points. Means what? Listen again, that is very important. Xn, I claim that Xn signal is made up of multiple sub-signals. How many? As you feel appropriate, you can think of infinite also. So, I say, listen again, that is very important. Xn, I claim, is comprised of Xin, or I will not write down right now, immediately say Xin, I will say xn is comprised of, xn is given sequence, xn is given sequence. Then I assume, as the McDonald's person I assume, yes, that given person may be notorious, is having some good characteristics. So I model, I claim that xn is comprised of one subsignal, other subsignal, other subsignal, and there is no end to it, there is no end to it. So I can say that I equal to, you can say 0, x0, or you can start with 1, that is not so important, I equal to 1 to infinity. Subscript we do not give, it is subscript, remember it is a it is not, the summation indicates one signal, one sequence, other sequence, other sequence. So I am assuming that the given sequence is comprised of multiple components. How many? Infinite. x1n plus x2n plus x3n plus and so on. Infinite components. And I claim that each component is a rotating point with some speed and some amplitude and some starting position. What I am claiming now, let us, it is a very complex discussion. I am aware that everybody will not be able to understand immediately, but it is, since it is recorded, you can replay on the group, you can discuss among yourself by think, pair, share approach, and after a few sessions we will have a live difficulty solving session. In there also you can ask. So what is the theme? The theme is, given signal is assumed to be comprised of multiple signals. How many multiple? Infinite multiple. And each subsequence is taken as a rotating point. Even though medium of instruction at an engineering college is English, looking at the complexity of the theme, for a while I am switching the medium of instruction. Discrete time Fourier transform आपण काढतो म्हणजे काय करतो? तर discrete time Fourier transform आपण काढतो म्हणजे दिलेला सिक्वेन्स जो आहे, दिलेला सिक्वेन्स हा मल्टिपल सब सिक्वेन्सेसची सम आहे असं अज्युम करायचं. मल्टिपल सब सिक्वेन्सेसची सम आहे असं अज्युम केल्यानंतर त्यातला प्रत्येक मल्टिपल किती? तर इन्फायनाइट, नो लिमिट, नो लिमिट. आणि त्यातला प्रत्येक सब सिक्वेन्स हा रोटेटिंग पॉइंट आहे. त्यातला प्रत्येक सब सिक्वेन्स हा रोटेटिंग पॉइंट आहे असं अज्युम करायचं. रोटेटिंग पॉइंट तो कसा आहे? एका कुठल्या तरी फ्रिक्वेन्सीचा, एका कुठल्या तरी दिलेल्या एम्प्लिट्यूडचा आणि दिलेल्या स्टार्टिंग पोझिशनचा. सो आय एम रायटिंग इट इन ए क्लासिकल मॅनर. So the given sequence is xn is equal to, I am assuming that it is दिलेला सिक्वेन्स हा इन्फायनाइट सब कंपोनंटचा बनलेला आहे आणि त्यातला प्रत्येक सब कंपोनंट हा रोटेटिंग पॉइंटच आहे. दिलेला सिक्वेन्स कुठलाही असेल तो मी अशा इन्फायनाईट रोटेटिंग पॉइंट्सची सम म्हणून एक्सप्रेस करूच शकतो. आय कॅन रिप्रेझेंट एनी गिव्हन सिक्वेन्स ॲज summation of infinite subcomponents. These subcomponents are also sequences, but these are sequences of some predefined type. That is, these are rotating points and nothing else. These are rotating points not necessarily on unit circle, but on a circle of radius either less than 1 or more than 1, any radius. म्हणजे प्रत्येक कंपोनंटची रेडियस वेगवेगळी. दिलेला सिक्वेन्स हा इन्फायनाईट सब सिक्वेन्सेसचा बनलेला आहे आणि त्यातला प्रत्येक सब सिक्वेन्स हा काहीतरी ठराविक रेडियस असलेला सर्कलवर काहीतरी ठराविक स्पीडनं रोटेट होणारा आणि कुठल्या तरी स्टार्टिंग म्हणजे n = 0 ला काहीतरी वेगळी स्टार्टिंग पोझिशन असणारा rotating point type. So each subcomponent is a rotating point of some radius at some speed starting from some point. So I can say that it is made up of xin, where I is an index. So this can be. Now I will, instead of writing it infinity, subscript also I can use minus because that is somewhat convenient to me. So I will say I is equal to minus m to m. Now we say that infinite immediately we don't go for. So what I say, the given sequence is comprised of 2m plus 1 subsequences. Given sequence is comprised of 2m plus 1 subsequences. And then m I can change. I can change from m = 1, 3 subsequences, m = 2, 5, m = 100, 201. And as m tends to infinity, the subsequences will tend to infinity. And what is xi? Given these subsequences are known, means are of predefined nature, any xin is a rotating point on given circle. Radius will be different. So what I say, for radius I will use the word, what word I should use? I will use the word, specifically I use r, and I will tell you why it is ri. Listen carefully. पुन्हा मराठीत सांगतो. दिलेला सिक्वेन्स हा मल्टिपल सबसिक्वेन्सेसची सम आहे असं मी ॲझ्युम केलेलं आहे. इट इज नॉट फायनल आन्सर. माय ॲझम्पशन मे बी रॉंग. मग मी काय करणार, असं मी ॲझ्युम पॉस्च्युलेट्स हे हायपोथिसिस कसं करायचं, असं काहीतरी ॲझ्युम करायचं आणि मग जे मी ॲझ्युम केलेलं आहे ते बरोबर येण्याकरता काय काय मला खटपट करायला लागेल तो करायचा आणि शेवटी माझं ॲझम्पशन हे योग्य आहे हे प्रूव्ह करायचं. सो आय हॅव ॲझ्युम्ड that given sequence is summation of multiple subcomponents, 2m plus 1 subcomponents. Each subcomponent is a rotating point at a speed of, so I hope that it is very complex, but I think I am trying my level best. xin. What is xin? It is ith component of the given sequence. Xin is a rotating point e raised to j, this n, and this is an angular frequency. What I will say that this is related to I. So what I will right now, let us say, so that let us give it index e raised to j omega I n. I is subscript, listen very carefully, and I am assuming it is rotating positively, means the j is it is not minus j. So as j is there, if omega is positive, it is a rotating point in anti-clockwise. If omega is negative, it is a rotating point in clockwise. And this is Ri. This is Ri. So प्रत्येक सबसिक्वेन्स हा एका स्पेसिफिक, ज्याला मराठीमध्ये विवक्षित दिलेल्या प्रत्येक सबसिक्वेन्स हा एका ठराविक इज द प्रॉपर वर्ड, नाहीतर विवक्षित म्हणून म्हणजे मीडियम ऑफ इन्स्ट्रक्शन बदलून उपयोगायचं नाही. तर दिलेला सबसिक्वेन्स हा एका ठराविक रेडियसच्या सर्कलवर एका ठराविक अँग्युलर स्पीडनं रोटेट होणारा पॉइंट आहे. But there is one small problem. What is at n equal to 0? At n equal to 0, this becomes 0. So this becomes 0. So this becomes 1. Our radius is real number. So the point always at n equal to 0 is on horizontal axis at Ri distance. So that is not necessary. That is not necessary. So at n equal to 0, the point is rotating point. At n equal to 0, it need not lie on horizontal position. It can lie on any position. It can lie on any position. So what I will say, listen very carefully, Ri e raised to j phi I. E raised to j phi I means what? This is 1, this is Ri, and this e raised to j phi I will give the initial position, that is at n equal to 0, the xin will be a point on a circle of radius Ri at an angle of phi I, and then this Ri e raised to j phi I write it as Ai, where Ai is a complex number, means Ai contains amplitude and angle. So Ai is nothing but a unique combination of Ri angle phi I. So this is the multiplier of the rotating point. म्हणजे प्रत्येक सबसिक्वेन्स हा रोटेटिंग पॉइंट आहे. दिलेल्या स्पीड, कुठल्या तरी ठराविक स्पीडनं कुठल्या तरी ठराविक सर्कलवर कुठल्या तरी ठराविक स्टार्टिंग पोझिशन पासून, म्हणजे ठराविक रेडियसच्या सर्कलवर ठराविक स्टार्टिंग पोझिशन पासून ठराविक स्पीडनं रोटेट होणारा पॉइंट आहे. नाव सो आय कॅन से दॅट xin is Ai e raised to j omega in, a raised to j omega in. Now what is omega I? Omega I will be now related to I. I will relate omega I to I. How? In this manner. If I is equal to m, omega I will be pi. If I is equal to 0, omega I will be 0. If I is equal to minus m, omega I will be minus pi. So with this, how can I say omega and I? Omega I is equal to directly what I can say, if I is equal to m, if I is equal to m, omega I is equal to pi. So, I can say pi m, not pi m, directly it is I pi upon m, I pi upon m. So, this is, it was not needed actually, but so that there should not be any scope for what we can say gap in understanding, I clarified it beyond doubt. So, I can say that x n is equal to summation of multiple subcomponents. How many multiple? 2m plus 1. What is m? As you choose. So, x I n is equal to a I e raised to j pi I upon m, pi I upon m n, pi I upon m n. If I is positive, I will be going from minus m to m. If I is positive, it is rotating anticlockwise. If I is negative, it is rotating clockwise. I think now the question is how, so I had now with this omega I equal to this means what will happen? For I equal to 0 it is steady point, for I equal to 1 it is rotating point in anticlockwise direction. For I equal to 2, suppose if now my m is 100, if my m is 100 then there will be 201 points. So, the points for m equal to 1 to 100 when m is positive, I is positive will be rotating points with higher speed. For I equal to minus 1 to 100, it is rotating point in clockwise direction with higher speed. And now I can make m large and large. So, I am now decomposing given signal into multiple I am decomposing given sequence into multiple subsequences, and each subsequence is a rotating point with different speed related, and that is I am spacing them equally. I am now I am not alerting the speeds randomly, I am spacing them equally. So, I want that the any given signal, any given sequence should be thought to be comprised of multiple subsequences, each rotating at different speeds at regular intervals. And now that I am increasing and going to infinity, what happens when m goes to infinity, that we will discuss in the next lecture. Today's lecture was, I think, very heavy. So, you need some kind of rest after the lecture. You can take a suitable rest in the afternoon and then we can begin tomorrow. I think now it is over.